Hey, it's How We Will. Welcome back to my channel. So on another video, I showed you how to bind off on your sweater. And I never tried mine on until I bound off the body of it. When I looked at it, I realized it was way too long. So I also didn't like one of these colors here. It just doesn't seem to go with the rest of them. So I figured it's about 6 inches too long, which is about these three colors here. But I don't want this color. So I'm going to do the dirty deed of frogging and frog back all the way to this here. Then after I frog that off, I'm going to pick up my stitches and add these two colors back and then the waist. I have to add this because that's what I used on the yoke. Most of these are recycled yarns that I pulled off of other projects. So it's going to look a little off anyways. And it's my first one, so I don't mind. So I know we're all terrified of frogging, but I went ahead and found where I sewed it in. I sewed it in a little too good. And I found the pieces. So I'm just going to go ahead and start ripping it off. And you can tell it's older yarn because it catches. Don't be scared of doing this. I'm really new to knitting, and I figured you have to do what you got to do. If you make a mistake and you want it to look nice, you just go back and fix it. So I'm not going to waste your time while I do this, but I'm going to do this all the way back to, like I said, this color, and then I will show you how to pick up the stitches. Okay, so I'm getting near the end of my frogging or ripping, whatever you want to call it. And I need to start slowing down a little bit because I don't want to go too far, too fast. I want to maintain the stitches to where I can pick them up easier. The only problem I might encounter is it looks like I tied in the ends when I connected this new yarn. So it might catch a little bit, and it did from where I tied it in. So I'm going to have to figure this out, and then I'll be back. So I figured out where I had it tied. So since I'm so close to the edge, I'm going to slow down because I don't want to loosen up these stitches too much and have to redo those. Then I will show you how to pick them back up. Oh, here's where it's tied in as well. So you want to be careful when you pull these out because you don't want to upset these stitches too much, which it looks like I already did, but I can fix that. Fairly simple. I know I'm about having a heart attack right now. I don't know about you guys. The first time I did something, it was just a nightmare trying to get it fixed back. It took like all night to get back to where I started. Okay, so it looks like we're at the very end, and this is where you want to stop. So you want to hold that with your thumb so you don't pull the stitches out. Voila. And it looks like even though that's tied down, that'll be fine. I can leave that as is. this yarn out of the way. Okay, so there's different ways to pick back up your stitches. And I'm going to show you the way that I found is easier. You could go ahead and take your knitting needles, my circular needles that I use for the body. This is a size 8, which is 5.0 millimeter, and it's on a 48-inch circular because I've got a little belly here. And then when I move to the waist, I'll switch down to a size 5, which is a 3.75, and that's on a 40-inch circular because the ribbing makes it a little bit smaller. So what I found when I go to pick these back up, even though you're holding it, you want to go in from behind for each one. But the needles are pretty big compared to these little circles. So what's easier for me, if you don't go ahead and do a guard life-saving line in there, is before you rip it, is find a contrasting thread with your darning needle. Make sure it's long enough. Mine's almost not long enough because I cut it a little too short. But instead of wasting yarn and cutting a longer one, I'm just gonna get me a potato chip bag clip to hold the end so my stitches don't come off. Slide off the other end. And you want to be able to pick up each stitch from behind. Now what you want to do, because you're working, if you want, so you don't want your other stitches to start falling loose, you can clamp those shut also. And you want to enter the stitch from behind. But what we're going to do is get them all on the yarn, and then we will put them on the needle. Now see, this one's a little twisted because I'm using cheap yarn. So to go in from behind, you want to pinch it and go in from behind. Otherwise, it's going to go on your left needle backwards. You can always change that later, so don't worry if that happens to you. So keep your working yarn long enough to where you can continue to do them from behind. Be sure to hold the stitches with your left hand so they don't come loose when you pull the yarn through. And I got my yarn clipped on my, there we go. I'm just going to pull this all the way through and get that out of the way. And if you want, you can still put that in here some way. Right, and you're going to do this all the way around. Make sure you go from behind. Otherwise, you're going to twist the stitches. I think you get the idea. So I'm going to go ahead and finish this, and I will meet you at the end where I will show you how to put them back on your needles. Ooh, so here we are. I barely had enough yarn on my guide. So luckily I did the right thing. And while I'm taking these stitches, I'm going to still secure this with this here. So hopefully that doesn't come out while I'm working. I've got my size 8 needle, and I'm going to go through and take these stitches off my little guard wire here. And And where does it begin? It begins with that one. So you're going to do the same thing you did with your needle. And this time you're going to be right side out. Before I worked from the inside so I could see the stitches, but now that everything's secure, I mean, you could bounce this around. These aren't coming off unless I pull my yarn through. So we're going to start here, and I'm going to just start picking these up onto the circular needle. And I'm going to do this all the way around. I'm not going to pull my Lifesaver thread out yet. You can even pull this through. And just keep going. You might pick up some of that other yarn, but that's okay. Now, as you're going through, you can pull this out because those stitches are already on my needle. Make sure they don't get twisted though, because you want them on there the right way. You could always fix that later, but that's extra work. But if you do, it's no problem. I'd rather do it right. You know, see, these are on the needle. So go ahead and continue in that manner all the way around. Then you can start working back on your work again. From right to left. Enter it from right to left. I'm going to go ahead and pause my camera so I can do this off camera and not waste your time. I can hear my dog over there snoring. The wind is blowing too. A lot today. I got friends down in New Orleans sending right now for Mardi Gras, but here I am at home knitting a sweater. Winter's almost over here, but I wanted to make a sweater, so that's what I'm doing. Ooh, you can hear that wind outside too. All right, I think you get the point there. So work your way around and I'll show you when I'm finishing up. All right, we are almost at the end. Are y'all still having heart attacks? My heart attack was averted. Because as you can see, I'm almost done and all of my stitches are still on. I'm going to go ahead and take this clip off because I'm right near the end there. We'll just finish these on camera. If I can get it through right. Whenever I hit record, then I get nervous, I guess. There we go. Almost done. 2 more stitches. Uno. Dos. and crisis averted. So go ahead and take your lifeline out. Don't throw it away. You can recycle it or save it for future use. And as you can see now, all of my stitches are on my needles. And it looks like these two are twisted somewhere or another, but that's okay. So I'm going to go ahead and that's where I'm going to tie my new thread in. Or yarn, excuse me. And you're ready to go. So I took off 6 different bands of color, and I'm going to add back on the tan, the light green, and then the variegated blue. The variegated blue has to match that, even though it's not very attractive to me, but that's what I started with. So it still looks like these two might be twisted, but I'm going to go ahead and leave them on there, and I'm going to knit it. And when I go to tie these in, then I'll see about closing it in so there's no hole. Come on, come off. There we go. It's a little tight right now. Yeah, that definitely looks a little funky, but I'll fix that by the end. And there you have it. So you're ready to go with your the rest of your project. Don't feel too bad about having to undo your work. If something's wrong or you don't like it, then you can always fix it or change it. That's the art of making things yourself. If you have any questions, feel free to leave them in the comments. Hit a thumbs up if you like it. I'll try to add more. Like I said, I'm learning. I just learned to knit this year. But I believe in sharing information. So if I have information that I think somebody else might need that either I had a hard time finding or there's a lot of conflicting information, then I'll go ahead and make a video and share what I think somebody might be able to use. Hope y'all are having a good Mardi Gras season and happy hooking.